Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. We're now on our final segment, the market analysis. Joining me now is Sifiso Nsibande from Nedbank to analyze today's market. A very good afternoon, Sifiso. Thank you for coming back. So what's happening in the Middle East, the eruption that is happening, markets are shocked. What is happening now?
Yeah. Thanks for having me once again, Lulu. Yeah, so Saturday morning we woke up to very unexpected news that Israel and the US had bombed Iran, not only bombed Iran, but actually killing the supreme leader of Iran. So that's something big. Obviously, that has, sent some very serious shock waves across the markets. We're seeing some sell-offs. People are actually moving away from risk assets into safe haven. So the dollar, once again, is picking up. It was picking up because of the tension. Now it's picking up for the right reasons because they're actually uncertain about what's going to be happening in future. So stocks are actually coming down. If you look at the stock exchanges, actually, but the JSE, everything is actually going down. The gold is picking up. Now, funny enough is also because of the tension and the uncertainty, oil is also spiked up. And once oil goes up, investors sort of think that there's going to be inflation across emerging markets. So if there's an inflation in emerging markets caused by the rise of oil, it affects transport prices, affects production costs, tariffs, you name it. Then they run away from emerging assets. So that's why actually the rand is actually weakened. So the dollar is strong because investors still consider the dollar as a safe haven. So both the dollar and also the gold is actually experiencing some gains. We actually saw the dollar rand exchange, going up even to 16.7 as of yesterday. But I think today we will look at the
in the interest
currencies.
of time, let's just quickly go through today's numbers, starting off with equities, looking at equities this afternoon.
Yeah, so with equities, as I already said, we saw some sell-offs. Investors are actually saying they're looking for safe haven. So the S&P, FTSE and the JSE all down. Even though a little bit of some gains from the JSE overall because of the price of oil, the price of gold, because 20% of the JSE is actually resources. So we're actually seeing a volatile situation there, but down as a compared to yesterday. And then we move on to the commodities. Oil has really spiked up. Right now, we're actually looking at about $85, $86 a barrel, which is quite high. The gold has actually gone up as well, 5,188 an ounce. So those two, gold being a safe haven, is the reason why it's going up. Oil is because of the uncertainty. Actually, this morning, they said the Strait of Hormuz, which is the waterway that transports 20% of the oil, the world's oil, goes through that waterway. It has now been locked. That's why then the price of oil has gone up, and Trump has actually come back to say he is actually recommending that it be reopened, and he's going to escort anything that transport oil through that waterway because of the bombings that are actually going on. And that's why we are seeing these high levels of oil.
Okay, looking at currencies today, how's the lengani against the dollar?
Yeah, so with the currencies, we saw a very strong dollar as of yesterday. Right now it's actually going down because it was actually on the high side. So it actually went up to 16.6. If you remember very well, last week we were doing 15.95, touching a little bit 16, but now it actually went to 16.7. So as of this afternoon, it retreated back to 16.33. I think now the range actually for today is actually between 16.3, 16.8. That's the range where it's actually forecasted to be. The pound and the euro also took the same effect, and that's why we are seeing these levels of negative actually coming down. So it just remains to something that to be monitored going forward in terms of what's going to be panning out. We are looking forward to some events that are going to be taking place also this weekend to see if this kind of precipitating situation in the Middle East is actually getting better. You find that even flights have been cancelled. To travel around the world now becoming difficult. Dubai, flights are cancelled. Qatar flights are cancelled. So if you are looking forward to travel, even for businesses, you're going to have to look at alternative routes. So it's a situation that's currently, should I say, very tense, and we're looking forward to a situation that will improve, and we see market conditions also improve.
All right. Thank you, Sifiso, for unpacking these figures for us. It's 3 minutes before 3 o'clock. We've come to the end of our program. Thank you for tuning in. You're watching Nedbank Business Watch. Do join us again next week. But for more information on the current account, do not hesitate to visit any Nedbank branch countrywide. We'll see you again next week. Have a lovely day.
Make better money choices.